Vincent Vamp, with his pale skin thanks to a special sunscreen, jet black hair, and piercing red eyes, slowly made his way to school. He had to be extra careful today. The PTA had scheduled a pep rally right after class, and he didn't want to miss it. You see, Vincent was a vampire, but he wasn't your typical bloodsucker. He was a modern vampire. His fangs were retractable, and he could walk around in broad daylight. He just had to avoid direct sunlight, which would turn him into a crispy critter. As he rounded the corner to the gym, he caught sight of his best friend, Charlie Chuckles, already in the middle of a commotion. Charlie, with his curly red hair, freckles, and oversized glasses, was trying to convince the school's principal to let him bring his pet bat, Batman, to the pep rally. But he'll be super well behaved, Charlie pleaded. And he's been practicing his flip for weeks. Vincent couldn't help but chuckle as he approached his human friend after the principal had walked away while shaking her head. I think you'll have to find another mascot, Chuckles, he said, because the PTA won't go for it. Just then, Charlie's phone started beeping frantically. Oh, great, he groaned. It's your mom. Sighing, he took out his phone and read the text. Vincent and I will be there in a bit. Can't wait to see how the new mascot turns out. Vincent's heart skipped a beat. New mascot? What did she mean by that? As they hurried into the gym, they saw their other friend, Emily, waiting for them at the entrance. Emily, with her long blonde hair, bright blue eyes, and infectious laugh, was the perfect complement to Vincent and Charlie's oddball duo, and you would never have guessed that she was a werewolf. Especially since she was a vegetarian, who only occasionally, quite by accident, ate a bunny or two. But since the bunnies were vegetarian as well, it didn't bother her too much. She had a special surprise for Vincent's birthday, but she made him promise not to ask any questions. The pep rally was in full swing when they arrived. The cheerleaders were doing their routines, the football team was showing off their new uniforms, and the principal was giving a speech about the importance of school spirit. Charlie nudged Vincent and pointed at the new mascot, a giant inflatable bat with a V for a nose and a pair of big red fangs. Vincent's jaw dropped. It was Batman. Emily had somehow managed to convince the principal to let him be the new mascot. As Vincent and Charlie watched, Batman started doing flips and twirls around the gym, much to the delight of the crowd. The surprise wasn't over yet. As the principal announced the grand finale, Emily pulled out a cake decorated with bats and fangs. Happy birthday, Vincent! She shouted, handing him a piece of cake. Vincent smiled warmly, feeling truly special for once. Thanks, guys, he said, taking a bite of cake. This is the best birthday ever. And it was, because in the end, all Vincent really wanted was the acceptance of his friends, and he knew he had it. As the pep rally came to an end, Vincent, Charlie, and Emily walked out of the gym together, basking in the glow of a job well done. So, Vincent said, licking the last bit of bat-flavored icing from his finger, did you guys have fun at the party? They all laughed. It was the most normal thing ever, Charlie joked. Emily smiled and squeezed Vincent's arm. It's because you're our friend, Vinny. No matter what, we'll always have your back. The rest of the school day flew by, and soon enough it was time for Vincent to head home. He glanced over at Emily and Charlie as they said their goodbyes, feeling grateful for their acceptance and friendship. He knew that maybe being a vampire wasn't so bad after all, as long as he had people like them in his life. As he made his way home, he couldn't help but wonder what other adventures lay ahead for him and his friends. Maybe they'd all go to the movies together, or hit up the local arcade. The possibilities were endless, and for once, Vincent Vamp felt truly part of something special. He might be a vampire, but he was also a valued member of the greatest team in the world, the Emily, Charlie, and Vincent Super Squad. When he finally arrived home, his mother, Alicia, was waiting for him at the door. She was a beautiful woman, with long raven hair and piercing green eyes, and she always had a kind word and a warm hug for her son. As vampires age, their red eyes change to normal colors, so that they can pass for humans more easily. Vincent knew his change was still a few years away. How was your day, Vincent? she asked, giving him a kiss on the cheek. It was great, Mom, he replied, smiling. Thanks for asking. He couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment as he thought about all the wonderful things that had happened at the pep rally. His mother smiled back at him, obviously pleased to see her son so happy. As they sat down to dinner together, Vincent couldn't help but feel grateful for his life, despite its unique challenges. He had a supportive family, amazing friends, and a newfound sense of purpose thanks to Emily, Charlie, and Batman. He knew that there would be more ups and downs in the future, but for now, he was going to enjoy the ride. Later that night, as Vincent lay in bed, he couldn't sleep. His mind kept racing with ideas for new adventures and plans for the future. He knew that he wanted to be more than just a vampire. He wanted to make a difference in the world. And with Emily and Charlie by his side, he felt like he could do anything. Just then, his phone buzzed with a message from Emily. Hey, Vinny, I've been thinking about what we could do next. How about we start our own club? Like a secret society of awesomeness or something? Vincent smiled to himself in the darkness. He knew that no matter what they decided to do, they would always have each other's backs. And that was the most important thing of all. The next few weeks flew by as they planned their new club. They decided to call it the Nocturnal Knights, and they made a pact to always be there for one another, no matter what. They met at Emily's house every Tuesday and Thursday night to discuss ideas and plan their next adventure. Sometimes they'd brainstorm fundraising ideas, like selling homemade cookies or lemonade at the local farmer's market. Other times, they'd watch movies or play board games. One evening, as they were discussing their long-term goals for the club, Charlie suggested they organize a community service project. Yeah, Emily agreed. Like we could volunteer at the animal shelter or something. Vincent nodded in agreement. He liked the idea of giving back to their community and setting a good example for other kids. As the months passed, the Nocturnal Knights became an integral part of Vincent's life. He looked forward to every meeting, eager to see what new adventures lay in store for them. And as they continued to grow as friends and leaders, he knew that they could achieve anything they set their minds to. One night, while they were all sitting around eating pizza and discussing their latest escapades, Emily turned to Vincent with a mischievous glint in her eye. Hey, Vinny, she said. Would you ever want to go to a vampire convention with us? Vincent raised an eyebrow, intrigued. You mean like a place where we could meet other vampires? He asked, curious. Emily grinned. Exactly. It's in Las Vegas next month. Think you'd be up for it? Vincent considered the idea for a moment. On one hand, he'd never been to Vegas before, and it would be cool to see all the bright lights and casinos. On the other hand, he'd never really met any other vampires their age before, and he wasn't sure what kind of people they'd be. Well, he said finally, I'd love to go, but I'm not sure if my mom would let me go that far by myself. Do you think your parents would be cool with it? Absolutely, Emily exclaimed. My parents always liked the idea of me making new friends. And with us all going together, I'm sure they'd feel better about it. Charlie nodded in agreement. Yeah, and who knows? Maybe we'll meet some other vampires who are just like us and want to make a difference in the world. Vincent couldn't help but feel a surge of excitement at the prospect. Okay, he said finally. Let's do it. Let's go to Vegas and find our people. And with that, the Nocturnal Knights made plans for their most ambitious adventure yet. The weeks leading up to the convention were a whirlwind of activity. They spent hours researching the event online, trying to figure out what to expect and who would be there. They also worked on costumes, making sure that they would stand out in the crowd. Emily sewed capes for herself and Vincent, while Charlie fashioned a pair of custom-made fangs from acrylic. They practiced their vampire lingo and etiquette, determined to make a good impression on their newfound peers. Finally, the day arrived. The Nocturnal Knights piled into Emily's parents' minivan, their bags stuffed with clothes, toiletries, and snacks. The drive was long, but they passed the time by playing games and discussing their favorite vampire movies and TV shows. As they neared Las Vegas, the sky began to lighten, and they could see the glittering lights of the city in the distance. Wow! Vincent breathed. It's even more amazing in person. Emily grinned at him. Just wait until you see the convention center. They finally arrived at the hotel. The lobby was bustling with vampires of all ages and backgrounds. Emily, Charlie, and Vincent exchanged nervous glances as they made their way through the crowded check-in line. Once they had their badges, they found a quiet corner to catch their breath. Okay, Emily said, taking a deep breath. Let's do this. And with that, they plunged into the chaos of the convention. The convention center itself was massive, with hundreds of vendors selling everything from fake fangs and capes to vampire-themed jewelry and art. They spent hours wandering the aisles, marveling at the creativity on display. They stopped at booths to chat with other vampires, trading stories and tips about their experiences. They even attended a few workshops on vampire history and folklore, learning about the diverse cultures and legends that had shaped their identities. As the night wore on, they decided to explore the convention center's dance floor. It was packed with vampires of all ages, spinning and twirling to throbbing techno music. Emily, Charlie, and Vincent found a spot in the corner and began to dance, enjoying the energy of the crowd. They met several vampires their age who shared their passion for helping others, and they spent the rest of the night swapping stories and making new friends. The next day, they attended the convention's main event, a panel discussion featuring some of the most prominent figures in the vampire community. They listened intently as the speakers discussed issues such as vampire rights, self-acceptance, and community outreach. After the panel, they had the opportunity to meet the speakers and ask questions. They were surprised to find that many of them were just like Vincent, ordinary people who had found acceptance and purpose in their vampiric identities. As the convention came to a close, Emily, Charlie, and Vincent felt a sense of belonging they had never experienced before. They exchanged contact information with several new friends and vowed to stay in touch, maybe even start a chapter of the Nocturnal Knights in Las Vegas. They left the convention center with a renewed sense of purpose and a newfound appreciation for the vampire community. And as they drove home, they knew that they would always have a place among their new friends. The months that followed were filled with excitement and growth for the Nocturnal Knights. They continued their work in the community, expanding their reach and helping more people than ever before. They also stayed in touch with the friends they had made in Vegas, participating in virtual meetups and sharing stories about their adventures. One evening, as they were finishing up another successful outreach event, Emily received a message from one of their Las Vegas connections. A local vampire named Elena had heard about their work and wanted to meet them. Intrigued, Emily, Charlie, and Vincent agreed to meet her at a nearby coffee shop. As they waited for Elena, they couldn't help but feel a buzz of anticipation. Maybe this was the opportunity they had been waiting for, the chance to start a new chapter of the Nocturnal Knights in Las Vegas. When Elena finally arrived, they were not disappointed. She was smart, driven, and passionate about helping others. After hearing her story and learning about her background, they knew that she would make a great addition to their team. Over coffee, they discussed their shared vision for the future of the Nocturnal Knights in Las Vegas. They mapped out plans for outreach events, fundraisers, and community service projects. As they talked, they realized that they had found someone who truly understood what it meant to be a Nocturnal Knight. With Elena by their side, they were unstoppable. The weeks that followed were a mad rush of activity as they worked together to establish the Las Vegas chapter of the Nocturnal Knights. They held their first meeting at Alicia's spacious apartment, where they discussed their plans and goals in detail. Emily, Charlie, and Vincent shared their experiences from their home chapter, while Elena provided valuable insights into the community. They all agreed that their strength lay in their diversity, and that they could achieve great things together. As they began to put their plans into action, they found that their newfound reputation preceded them. Vampires from all walks of life reached out to them, seeking help and support. They organized a series of workshops and seminars, covering topics such as vampire safety, self-defense, and navigating the complexities of modern life as a supernatural being. The turnout was overwhelming, and they were heartened by the enthusiasm and dedication of their attendees. One particularly memorable event was their first volunteer day at a local homeless shelter. The vampires from the Nocturnal Knights chapter worked side by side with human volunteers to serve meals, clean the facilities, and spend time with the shelter's residents. It was a humbling experience for everyone involved, and it reinforced their belief in the power of compassion and understanding to bridge divides. As they cleaned up after the event, they exchanged stories and laughter, buoyed by the knowledge that they had made a difference in someone's life. As the months passed, their chapter grew in size and influence. They began to receive invitations to participate in vampire-themed charity events and fundraisers, and their name was becoming synonymous with service and integrity. Emily, Charlie, Vincent, and Elena were proud of what they had accomplished, but they knew that their work was far from over. There were still so many vampires out there who needed their help, and they were determined to reach them all. One evening, as they were wrapping up another successful outreach event, Emily turned to Elena and said, "You know, I've never felt more at home anywhere than I do here with you all." Alicia smiled warmly and replied, "The feeling is mutual." They stood side by side, watching the other Nocturnal Knights interact with the people they had helped, and felt a deep sense of pride and belonging. Their work with the homeless shelter had led to other opportunities to help those in need. They organized a blood drive at a local hospital, making sure that the donations were handled safely and discreetly. They even organized a cookout after the donations. Everyone who donated blood was welcome to help themselves to burgers and hot dogs, dripping with ketchup. The doctors and nurses were incredibly grateful for their efforts, and the members of the Nocturnal Knights felt a renewed sense of purpose. As the months went by, they continued to receive requests for assistance from all corners of the vampire community. They helped a group of young vampires start their own support group, offering advice and guidance as they navigated the challenges of their new lives. They also worked with a local university to create a safe space for vampire students, providing resources and support to help them succeed academically. One particularly challenging case involved a family of vampires who had fallen on hard times. The parents were struggling to find work, and their children were having difficulty adjusting to their lives as vampires. Emily, Charlie, Vincent, and Elena worked tirelessly to find them temporary housing and secure the parents' employment. In the end, they were able to help the family get back on their feet, and the children even started attending the workshops and seminars organized by the Nocturnal Knights. As the years passed, the Las Vegas chapter of the Nocturnal Knights continued to grow and thrive. Their reputation for compassion, integrity, and service had spread far and wide, and they were constantly in demand for their help and expertise. Emily, Charlie, Vincent, and Elena looked back on their journey with a sense of awe and gratitude, marveling at the incredible impact they had made on the lives of so many. They knew that their work was far from over, but they also felt a deep sense of contentment and satisfaction in the knowledge that they had truly found their calling. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it.